I didn't even recognize the envelope at first. It was cream-colored, thick like it had weight, and hand-addressed in curling letters I knew too well. My sister's handwriting, a hybrid of fake calligraphy and leftover doodles from the back of our high school notebooks. I turned it over. No return address. Just wax-stamped, sealed like something sacred. For a moment, I thought maybe it was an apology, a late invitation, or maybe a thank you for all the deposits I'd made, all the spreadsheets I built when she said she was too stressed to plan. But the paper inside wasn't soft. It wasn't even warm. Just a printed invoice. Final wedding contributions owed, $2,912.94. A polite line at the bottom read, "Please settle within 14 business days. Love you. No invite. No, we missed you. No photo. No explanation. Just a bill." I didn't cry. Not right away. I just stood there in the doorway, coat still on, keys dangling from one finger, like I'd walked into a scene that was waiting to hurt me. The fridge buzzed. A neighbor slammed a door upstairs. Life kept moving, but I was still, like something inside had cracked too small to hear, but deep enough to shift everything. I placed the envelope on the table, not with anger, not even with care, just flat. Flashback. 6 months ago, I had the password to her wedding planner's app. I helped her pick the venue, book the florist. I loaned her $1,000 to secure the caterer because Dad's card got declined, and Mom said it was a temporary issue. I even offered my place for her bachelorette night, cleaned out the living room, strung up fairy lights, built a mimosa bar from a folding table and leftover IKEA shelves. She said it was cute. Then 3 weeks before the wedding, she stopped answering. Said she was just so busy. People started posting the pictures before I even realized I wasn't going. I saw her walk down the aisle on Instagram, in the dress we picked out together. I saw our cousins tagging each other at the reception. One of them wore the heels I loaned her. And I was at work, covering someone's shift, because I assumed I'd be invited, because no one said otherwise. I stared at the envelope again. There wasn't even a breakdown. No itemized list. Just a number. Like I owed them something for being alive. Like I should be grateful to be part of their ledger, even if I wasn't part of the memory. That night, I didn't eat. I just sat at my small kitchen table, lit only by the yellow light above the sink. I stared at that envelope until the words blurred, and then I wrote something on the back. In a fine black pen. I wasn't there. This one's not mine. Then I resealed it, stamped it, dropped it in the mailbox, returned to sender. The first time I gave her money, I didn't even think of it as giving. She'd called in the middle of my shift at the campus bookstore, voice shaky, saying her card got declined at the registrar's office. She needed a few hundred to stay enrolled. I told her, I'll figure it out. And I did. I sold my textbooks early, skipped groceries, told my roommate I wasn't hungry. She posted a boomerang later that week. Iced coffee, new planner, glitter pens spread across her dorm bed. Her back on track. I remember pausing on it, staring at the sparkle of that damn pen. It became a rhythm after that, she asked. I adjusted. Car repairs, rent gaps, birthday surprises she forgot to plan for other people. Once even a new phone because hers felt slow and she couldn't show up to the meeting with a cracked screen. No one told her no. I just happened to be the first person she texted, and the last person she thanked, if she remembered at all. When she got engaged, it was over FaceTime, She tilted her hand in the camera like I was lucky to see it first. I congratulated her before she asked, not how I was doing, not if I had eaten, not even if I was alone that day. Just guess who's the maid of honor, she'd said, laughing. I didn't know she meant it wouldn't be me. I didn't ask for anything in return, not once. Not when I drove her across state lines to look at venues. Not when I hosted her bridal shower in my backyard because it felt more authentic. Not when I paid the deposit on the photographer because Mom said, "We're all stretched. Thin right now. Thin." That's how I always felt around them. Stretched, invisible, needed, never included. At Thanksgiving that year, she was glowing in her bride-to-be sweater. They gave her the seat at the head of the table. My chair was at the end, by the kitchen door, where I could get up easily to refill things. She handed out cards that read, "Thankful for my people." Everyone had one. Mine was blank. I asked Dad quietly if the cards were misprinted. He said maybe mine got switched, but he never looked for it. That night, I helped scrub the pans while she went live on TikTok. She never once turned the camera toward me. Not when I brought out dessert, not when I wrapped leftovers, not even when I stood behind her, blurry in the background, holding a tray. I think the worst part wasn't being forgotten. It was being used for the remembering. Like I was just there to keep things going. To be the quiet one. The one they call when things fall apart. The one who shows up with towels and tape and spreadsheets and backup plans, but never the one in the photos. Last week, I found the screenshot I took of her registry. Next to the 2,812 94 door was a note. Gift from name withheld. You're the best. Couldn't have done this without you. I never clicked confirm. I never checked out. But she listed my name anyway. Just in case it made her look good. I looked good to them too, from a distance. The sister who always says yes, the one who'll understand, the one who'll be fine. I think they believed that meant I didn't feel it. But I did. I muted the group chat first. It wasn't a grand gesture, just a press and a slide. Mute notifications forever. No fireworks, no anger, just peace. The last message I saw before silencing it was a photo of her baby shower invite mock-up. Pastels, balloons. Another event I wouldn't be needed for. Except to pay, probably. They always said I was quiet, but they never understood what my silence meant. To them, it meant agreement, submission. A shrug in the form of a life. To me, silence was a dam, built brick by brick out of disappointments they called just life. It held back years of second choices, forgotten birthdays, tasks I never volunteered for but was always handed. It held back the soft scream of a girl who was always almost part of the family, but never quite belonged. I didn't leave the group. I knew they'd notice, and I didn't want them to think they were worth the explanation. Let them talk to each other. Let them post photos I'll never see. Next, I stopped sending reminders. I used to be the one who remembered everything. Mom's prescription refills, Dad's annual tax files, the dog's vet appointments, even the Spotify password when it expired. I was the family's second brain, but no one ever asked how mine was doing. So I deleted the shared calendar, logged out of the family planner app, turned off birthday alerts. Let them remember. Let them miss one bill, one dinner, one candle. Let them feel what I did, a little, invisible. Then came the guest list for her baby shower. It was sent by my cousin, in a mass email I was CC'd on like a leftover name. My name wasn't on the design. It wasn't even mentioned in the host list, even though the party was in the same venue I once booked for her bridal shower. I replied, "Sorry, I won't be attending. Hope it's beautiful." No explanation, no apology. Just enough closure to feel like a window closing slowly. I started cooking for myself again. Not the rushed meals I used to make between errands for them, but soft, warm, intentional food. Rice steamed gently, broth that simmered, meals eaten at the table with music low and lights soft. Alone, but full. And that's the part no one talks about. When you stop performing your role in the family, there's a quiet freedom that tastes like soup made just the way you like it. I found a photo the other day. Me and her, age 6 and 9. We had matching butterfly clips and jelly sandals, eating popsicles on Grandma's back porch. She was beaming. I was watching her. That was the blueprint. She always beamed. I always watched. I didn't frame the photo. I placed it in a drawer with a small note behind it. I was there too. Just for me. Just to remember that even if they forget, even if they rewrite the story without me, I lived it too. I mattered, even if they couldn't see it. The next message didn't come through the group chat. It came from my mother. Subject line: just wondering. The body was short. "Hi, honey. Are you still planning to send your portion for the shower cake and decorations? We're a bit tight this month. Let me know. XOXO, no greeting. No, thank you for everything you've already done." Just an expectation dressed up in lowercase affection. I didn't reply. Not immediately. I let it sit. Because if I had replied right away, I would have written what I used to write. Of course, just send the total. And maybe added a smiley face. Maybe even added a gentle reminder for her doctor's appointment next week. But this time, I waited. And in the quiet, I watched myself grow. 2 days later, I sent a response. "Hey, Mom, I won't be contributing this time. I hope everything goes beautifully, though. Give her my best." That was it. No explanation. No guilt-gifted Venmo. No asking if she was disappointed. I read it over 6 times before hitting send. Not because it was harsh. It wasn't. But because it was new. It was mine. And for once I didn't soften the edge. She didn't reply for a full day. When she did, it was cold sugar. "Okay. That's fine. We'll figure something out. No thank you. No, we understand." Just that undercurrent of "you've changed" laced into 6 syllables. But that was the point. I had. A week passed, then another. Someone must have noticed. Because when I called Dad about renewing the insurance, something I'd always handled, he said, "You should probably check with your sister. She's taking over some of that now." And it stunned me more than it should have. Not because I was losing control, but because they finally realized I wasn't on autopilot anymore. I was stepping off the stage. On a whim, I opened the family Facebook album, the one Mom curated like a scrapbook for strangers. Every photo polished, every caption warm. I scanned through the wedding photos again. Still no tag, still no mention. But now I saw them for what they were. A glossy story I didn't belong to. Not because I wasn't good enough, but because I wasn't convenient anymore. There was one moment, though, buried deep in an old post. A blurry photo taken at the shower I hosted. You could just barely see me in the corner, bent over a tray, lighting candles. The caption read, So lucky to be surrounded by love. I saved it, not for nostalgia, but because it was the last image of me playing the role they needed, the helper, the unpaid planner, the background girl, and now I had proof. I was never invisible. They just loved how well I disappeared. That night, I deleted the shared cloud album from my phone. I bought a new frame for my desk, not for the family photo they gave me last Christmas, the one I wasn't in, but for the quote I found scribbled in my own journal years ago. You are not the absence they make you feel. You are the presence they refuse to hold. It was my brother who finally said something. Not my mother. Too proud. Not my sister. Too distracted. But Daniel, the middle child who always floated between loyalties like driftwood, trying not to get pulled under. He called on a Thursday, early. His name lit up my phone like a forgotten photograph, familiar but grainy, out of focus. I let it ring twice before answering. Hey. His voice was cautious, like he wasn't sure if I'd pick up. Hey, I said, keeping my tone neutral, gentle. I didn't want to fight. I just wanted the air between us to stay still. So, are you okay? He asked, skipping pleasantries. Mom's been asking if you're mad. Said you've been distant. I almost laughed. Not out of humor, but because it was the word they always used. Distant, as if I drifted. Not that they pushed. I paused. I'm not mad, I said. And that was true. I just stopped showing up where I'm not seen. He went quiet. That kind of silence where you can hear someone blink. It's not like they meant to leave you out. Another phrase from the family dictionary. They didn't mean to. They never meant harm. But I was tired of playing interpreter between intent and impact. Dan, I said, and my voice softened the way it used to when he scraped his knees as a kid. Do you remember who bought your first guitar? Yeah, you did. And who picked you up when you missed your bus senior year? You did. And when Mom had her gallbladder surgery, who made her meal plan? You. I didn't list them to guilt him. I listed them to remind myself that I had always been there, and I was tired of being there for everyone but me. I'm not punishing anyone, I said. I'm just tired of participating in a family that sees my value only in what I provide. Let out a long exhale. I guess I didn't think about it like that. And I knew he hadn't. None of them had. Because I never made them. I made everything easy. He changed the subject after that. Light talk. Updates. Work. Weather. But his voice stayed careful, like he was speaking into a room that echoed. At the end, he asked, Do you want to come by next Sunday? Just us? No weird vibes. I'll make lunch. And I surprised myself by saying maybe, because maybe was bigger than no, and softer than yes. It was a boundary with a window. Not for them, but for me. Later that night, I reread our call in my head while folding laundry. The towels were warm. The room was quiet. Outside, the wind moved the trees in soft waves. I thought about how many years I moved like that, quietly, responsively, without notice. And now, even the silence had weight. They were starting to feel it. It came in a soft pink envelope. No wax seal this time. No stamped demand, no pastel invoice. Just my name, carefully written in blue pen. My full name, middle initial included. That was the first sign it wasn't from my sister. She never used my full name unless she was mocking something official. This was neat, almost nervous, like the handwriting itself wasn't sure it had the right to be on the page. It was from my mother. I didn't open it right away. I let it sit on the edge of the table where I leave unread things. Takeout menus, appointment reminders, coupons I never use, that little purgatory of paper waiting to matter. Something about her choosing a letter over a phone call felt rehearsed. As if writing it gave her time to avoid my silence. Still, 2 days later, I unfolded it carefully, like touching something that might crumble. "Hi, sweetheart," it began. "I'm sorry if things haven't felt fair lately." Already I knew she didn't understand. We've all been so caught up with the wedding and the baby, and maybe we didn't realize you were feeling left out. It wasn't intentional. We were just overwhelmed. There it was again. That family. Excuse wrapped in soft words. We didn't mean to. We were just overwhelmed. Your sister has a lot on her plate, and maybe she leaned on you too much. But that's what family is for, right? I paused, read that line again. That's what family is for. No acknowledgement that I'd been carrying more than anyone, for years. No mention of the bill they mailed me. No recognition of the events I was never invited to. Just a reminder of my role. The helper. The strong one. The invisible support beam they only notice when it stops holding the weight. I hope you'll come around soon. It's not the same without you. Love, Mom. No apology. Not really. Just a gentle nudge back into place. I folded the letter and placed it in the same drawer as the photo. The one of me lighting candles at a party I planned but wasn't in. Not because I wanted to remember, but because I wanted to keep the truth in one place. All the evidence. All the ways they claimed I mattered. Quietly, conditionally. That night, I sat on my balcony with a cup of tea and no phone in sight. The sky was that soft gray that holds both dusk and morning, like something in between. And I thought, sometimes apologies don't heal. Sometimes they just confirm that the wound was real. I went back on a Tuesday morning. No one was home. No one knew I was coming. The spare key was still taped under the chipped ceramic frog by the porch steps. The same hiding spot we used as kids, back when secrets felt like games and not survival. Strategies. I slipped it into the lock slowly, like the house might wake up and remember who I used to be. The air smelled the same. Laundry detergent. Dust. A hint of the lavender plug-in Mom always left half-used. It didn't feel like a home. It felt like a museum of a family I no longer belonged to. The dining table was set for 6. My chair, the one I always took by the window, was pushed in tighter than the others, like it hadn't been touched in a while. There were framed photos on the mantel. Her bridal portrait, a sonogram in a silver frame, Daniel and Dad at a ball game. Not one photo of me. I didn't cry. I just stood there for a moment, letting the silence press against me, not cruel, just indifferent. I made my way upstairs. My room, or what used to be, was now an office. A generic desk, unopened printer, and a neutral rug where my old bookshelves used to be. But the closet door still stuck at the bottom, and the corner near the window still creaked when you stepped just right. The house remembered me, even if they didn't. There was a box under the bed. Dusty, taped sloppily, with my name written in thick black marker. Her old stuff, donate, scribbled on the side. Inside, My high school journal A necklace I bought on a trip they said I shouldn't take a birthday card I made for Mom that was never opened. My acceptance letter from the university I deferred. To help them that year, Dad lost his job and folded neatly on top a small quilt. The one Grandma made me before she passed. The one Mom once said she'd keep safe because I had no space for it. I sat on the floor and held it to my chest. It smelled faintly of cedar and something older. It was the first time in months I felt like someone remembered I was soft. Before I left, I didn't take the photos. I didn't move the chairs. I didn't slam a door or rip anything off the walls. I just took the quilt, the journal, and the unopened birthday card. As I closed the front door behind me, the air felt thinner, not lighter, but mine. I wasn't grieving the space anymore. I was reclaiming the parts of me I had left behind. It was late afternoon when the knock came, not the kind of knock that demanded, the kind that hesitated. Like whoever was on the other side was unsure if they deserved to be there. I didn't move right away. I was sitting on the floor, legs tucked beneath me, surrounded by the last pieces of myself I had decided to keep. My grandmother's quilt. Across my knees, my old journal open beside a steaming cup of ginger tea. The apartment was quiet. No TV. No music. Just the soft hum of something settling, inside and out. The knock came again. 3 slow taps. Then silence. I stood, walked to the door. Didn't open it. I looked through the peephole. It was my sister. Hair in a soft braid, arms crossed like she wasn't sure if she should stay. She didn't look angry. She looked unsure, the same way she used to look when we were kids and she couldn't reach the top shelf and didn't want to ask for help. But this wasn't a shelf. This was me. She pulled something from her bag, a small envelope. She stared at it, flipped it twice, then placed it gently at my doorstep. She didn't knock again. She just stood there a moment longer, then turned and walked back to her car. I waited until her taillights disappeared. Then I opened the door, took the envelope, closed it again, slowly, intentionally. Inside was a photo, me and her on the couch. The day we painted the living room when Dad was in the hospital. We were covered in specks of white paint, laughing, barefoot. Taped to the back was a note. I don't know how to fix what I didn't see, but I see it now. I see you. I'm sorry. No return address, no request. Just that. I placed the photo in the drawer, next to the one from the bridal shower. Next to the unopened birthday card. I didn't text her, didn't email, didn't send anything back. Not out of spite. But because sometimes the most honest thing you can say is nothing. That night, I made dinner for one. Set the table for myself. Lit a candle. Played music only I liked. Not waiting for a call. Not checking the group chat. Not scanning for my name in someone else's celebration. I sat in the quiet, fully present. And for the first time, it didn't feel like absence. It felt like arrival. I didn't get justice. Not in the way stories are supposed to end. But I got space. I got peace. And in a world where I was always expected to be the giver, I gave myself back to me.